Hello there, welcome. My name is Mbali Sorke, and I am a lover of all things mental health related. Right, so back with this segment just to speak about some stuff that's going on in terms of mental health, mental illnesses, and that as an overall in South Africa. Today I found an article, not a recent one actually. My dad sent it to me, I think, over a month ago, and I spoke about it on a live on TikTok, but I felt like I have not seen anybody doing like a lengthy cover on it, and I found it to be an interesting article that I think would be quite important for us to speak on. So this was actually by Times Live. The journalist is Mudiegi Mashamaite. Headline: Alarm bells ring on mental health as suicide claims increase. I'm so worried actually that this channel is going to be flagged because I keep saying the actual word instead of saying analyzing, but I'm going to be remembering to use analyzing a lot more. So the reason why I also find this article to be quite worth diving into and speaking about is because September is analyzing prevention awareness month, and we are also working on doing our part with an event in our community that's going to be helping raise awareness on analyzing prevention. And I hope that really works out. I do believe that it's going to reach the right people. But here, there's some statistics in it that were provided for by Discovery Life, which is the medical aid that is really, really popular in South Africa. So they do have like really good data that is worth looking into. Another thing is also realizing that if this is the data that they have, like imagine the data that is not available out there, which is also worth knowing about and understanding. Okay, so I think we'll just get into it. So for starters already, there's an image that they put up over here, and under the picture is written Discovery Life's 2024 claims experience reports revealed suicide made up 35% of all unnatural death claims among its members, exceeding the 23% of deaths caused by motor vehicle accidents and 17% by violent crime. And I think that's something that really got to me, like just wanting to emphasize the fact that the unnatural death, in terms of analyzing, that is higher than deaths that are caused by car accidents and violent crime. And we really know how hectic that is. But this problem is a real problem that clearly exceeds all of that. So anyway, we're gonna get into it. I'm trying to find the date. Oh, this was released 16 April 2025. So right now at 12:30. Cassie Chambers, actually we spoke about it in another video. I don't know if I think she's operations director of the South African Depression and Anxiety Group of SADC. Okay, that's why she keeps showing up. Makes sense. I need to meet Cassie Chambers one day. I think I've spoken enough about her. That was time for us to meet and connect and discuss all of this stuff. Cassie says the latest figures from Discovery Life should set off alarm bells. True, I agree with that. The data should be alarming as the high number of unaliving is concerning. SADC has seen this over the years as our call volumes have increased dramatically to 3,000 incoming calls per day. Is that not like scary? That's a lot, because I remember that during the tragedy of 2020, SADC did mention that they were getting a whole lot more calls at that time than any other time. They even released like not just articles, but I think it was like a questionnaire type of thing. It was a client of mine that told me about it. I did not actually check it out myself, but I think they released like a questionnaire that sort of was helping you understand how badly was the pandemic affecting you individually, right? just to help people understand that you're not alone, firstly, but also it's not something to just brush over and say you're really just surviving this pandemic. You're not actually. It's okay that you're not. It's happening, and this is how far it is going. So I found that to be something really helpful. Like Cedric is very hands-on when it comes to all the stuff that has to do with mental illness, and I love that about them. All right, to finish off a sentence, to have data from Discovery that confirms what we have been raising awareness about is important. She is right. Discovery Life's 2024 claims experience report revealed unaliving made up 35% of all unnatural death claims among its members, exceeding the 23% of deaths caused by motor vehicle accidents and 17 by violent crime. Okay, if I mentioned that. Amongst those aged between 41 and 60, 45% of unnatural claims were due to unaliving. So we were speaking in another video about this happening amongst teenagers, but it's important to understand how mental illness affects all ages. Like it doesn't actually care. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. All right. And here, Discovery is discovering cut anyway that between the ages of 41 and 60. And I know that a lot of times it has been not been taken seriously amongst teenagers, mental illness, and again amongst people, especially above 40, it has not been taken seriously. But yeah, it is sad. When I read this, I remembered my friend's father who took his life, and he was in his 60s. And it would have been a very difficult thing at that time to say you need help, or to ask for help, or to actually go into, we're just lucky that there's a lot of people that are with Discovery, and Discovery is able to get these statistics, but it's helpful that they let us know that between ages 41 and 60, there really is still something to worry about in terms of mental illness at that age. It's not that they've dealt with so much in life that they're completely fine, right? We still need to look into that. Anyway, the insurer also reported a 62% rise in unaliving related claims among individuals over the age of 50 compared to the 5-year average. Okay. We need to highlight the concern about unaliving and invest money into preventing it. It's essential that life insurance policies invest in unaliving prevention and more patient support programs for members dealing with mental illness, with mental health issues, says Chambers. Okay, I would like to understand investing money into preventing it. I would like to know. I hope that chapter of a card does not sound too clear over here, but I'd like to know, what would that look like? Because I think in terms of managing mental illness, let me wait for this card to pass. Okay, I understand investing money into managing mental illness and providing more resources and accessible, resources. I'm not too sure what preventing would look like. Please let me know in the comments if you have like a better understanding of what would that look like. That would really be helpful. But I do believe, yes, it's important to invest a whole lot more into it, especially because in the other article we just found, and a very recent article, we just found that in the government health space, the mental health and mental illness industry is only given 5% of the budget, which is crazy and ridiculous and like sad and a lot. But yeah, there's a lot more that needs to be invested in that. Pom Pom, you know you're visible on the camera, my booba. Excuse me, I'm just noticing now. Discovery found 63% of the individuals who died by unaliving were members of the Discovery Health medical scheme and had been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, or bipolar mood disorder. Again, those are really popular ones. A lot of people, if you really think about it, there's probably someone in your life that you, if you just look at the symptoms or the signs of someone struggling with depression, anxiety, or BPD, that you'd be able to be like, I think I recognize somebody that might need help, but is not actually getting help, which is another sad situation. Now imagine that there's 63% that Discovery Health Medical Scheme has found. Imagine the numbers that are not being, oh, anyway, okay. Chief Medical Officer of Discovery Health, Dr. Marita van der Veld, said these tragic deaths are often preventable. Oh, well, that's sad. Okay, the data also emphasizes the importance of taking mental health concerns seriously and fostering a culture of better driving on roads. Okay. Oh, I think the better driving on roads thing, she's speaking because of the statistics. That okay, that's just confusing. Unless if a lot of people are going the route of unaliving themselves by the driving. Okay, that part confuses me. Right. While unaliving featured prominently, Discovery's report also revealed broader trends in causes of death and illness across the country. Cancer remains the leading cause of death amongst women, accounting for 35% deaths, and is also the most common severe illness for men and women. Okay. Among people over 60, heart and artery conditions accounted for 34% of deaths. Sharp. Let's keep going. Globally, the World Health Organization reported more than 700,000 people die by unaliving themselves each year, with many more attempting to end their lives, which is another conversation. It is said that men are 4 times more having the chance to, not having the chance, but 4 times more likely, yes, that's the word I'm looking for, 4 times more likely to unalive themselves than women. And then there was something else that also said that women attempt a lot more than men. It's just that men tend to be more solid about making sure that it works out. And usually, from my general knowing, right, just from the people that I know around me or have interacted with, by the time women get to that point, they've attempted many times, and people would even be like, "We know, she's tried so many times." And usually with men, it would be the first time attempting, or the second time that, or the first time. That's the first time we didn't even know this person had a problem. He didn't even. It was his first time doing it, and that's it, right? So tough conversation, but necessary. Sadek said behind every statistic is a person experiencing immense pain, often feeling isolated and without options. Yes, because it's not the first route. Like unaliving yourself is not the easiest thing to do. It's not like the first thing that somebody decides, I'm going to quickly do that. It's not an easy thing to do. There needs to be a whole lot of feeling of isolation, that chemical imbalance in the brain as well, and then leading to being like, this seems to be the most viable option, and therefore I need to make sure I at least succeed at this because I've struggled to succeed at any other option that I've ever had. Okay. To those who have not experienced severe feelings of depression and hopelessness, it's difficult to understand what drives so many individuals to take their own lives. A suicidal person is in so much pain that they can see no other option. Suicide is a desperate attempt to escape suffering that has become unbearable. If we can have that understanding, because I remember being in a conversation with a group of girls, and well, actually, there was gents as well, It was like two gents, okay, group of people, and we were all just talking, and we started getting into the mental health part, and someone there was like, I don't understand why anyone would ever take their life. or even attempt? What is going through your head for you to even just decide to do that? Why would you do that? Because somebody hurt you, or you're just upset about something in your life, or whatever. Why would that be a decision? If we could be empathetic enough to understand that that person who decides to do that, it would be a result of being in so much pain that you see no other option, that they see no other option. And again, based on this, it is a desperate attempt to escape the suffering that has become unbearable. So it's not first time feeling that level of suffering. No, it's suffering getting to a point where it feels unbearable. So it's not a joke of a situation. We know of people that attempt, and then when family members find them, they are ridiculed for even attempting, or people that will say it and get ridiculed for even saying that. It is not, yeah, okay. Despite their desire for the pain to stop, most suicidal people are deeply conflicted about ending their own lives. And deeply conflicted again goes back to finding this to seem to be like the only option at this point. But the conflict comes in knowing that logically this might not be a good idea, but nobody understands the depth of what I am feeling or what I'm going through, then I also feel like it's the best option. It's not something that is done for fun. It's not something that is done because just for the fun of doing it, really. It's not, yeah, just specifically, it's not something that is done for fun. It is not something that comes out of, just something out of nowhere, just deciding, actually, today seems like this should be the last day being here, and I'm going to do that. It's not, it doesn't, it's not. It emphasized that suicide is really the result of a single cause. Instead, it is often the culmination of many factors, including mental illness, substance abuse, bullying, trauma, stress, financial hardship, relationship issues, and chronic physical illness. It does come with a better understanding now that it usually isn't just the only thing that is coming. Yes, there is unaliving ideation, which is specifically what I got admitted for, was unaliving ideation, right? And it's something that keeps on coming back. But it is not, it is really just that thought just popped up. It's time to figure out a way to unalive. No, it's usually connected to many other things, usually including mental illness, chronic physical illness, which is a difficult thing to deal with. People that are chronically in pain usually start to think of how to end it all, because you can imagine if you're just in pain every now and then, someone that is never getting out of that pain and knowing that they're dealing with that for years, it starts to be a viable option to end it by being like, clearly I'm never getting out of this pain, and let me just do it this way. And then there's also mental illness. I need to be careful not to scratch the whole eyebrow of, okay, great, we still look good, which goes back to that chemical imbalance. It is, if you can just understand illness, you'll understand that it's not coming out of wanting to do this for fun. Okay. The organization said unaliving can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, or social status. Okay, mental illness does not care them. It just doesn't care. Okay, where it shows up, and that's on that. It doesn't care what's looking at like around you there, by your bank balance, by your gender, by your age, by your no. In the other video, we spoke about how it has been found that even from the age of 10, and we know people that even younger than that, it had started. However, according to the organization, at least 75% of suicides can be prevented through early intervention and open conversation, and professional support can save lives. Imagine that. Imagine knowing that instead of that one person that attempted being bullied and ridiculed for doing that. They got the support that they needed and conversations that they needed. That alone could have just 75% of them could have been prevented. Could have been prevented. Crazy. You know, the founder of the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, I forgot his name, but he had started from having a support group alone. And from the support group, it grew into the nonprofits that it is today, right? Those are the things that help a lot of people. It contributes to that 75% being preventable. Just having those support groups, because that's where the open conversations get to happen. And care. SADC encouraged a compassionate, non-judgmental approach in trying to help someone who may be suicidal, which is why they have the suicide lines, right? The number that you can call. Oh, here, they actually have it in the next part. The organization runs a toll-free 24-hour suicide crisis line at 0800 567 567, which has become a vital resource for thousands of South Africans in emotional distress. Great, that's the number. 24 hours. You don't need airtime to make that phone call. Also, one thing I will always emphasize about my love for SADC is that you are able to call on behalf of somebody else, knowing that you need somebody else to be contacted and they just don't have the capacity and the strength to do it on their own. They're here to help, and they are really great. There's a video here on my channel that I did a few years ago about my experience with calling the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. I think I did in 2020, in 2021, and I think in 2022, somewhere there, just so you have an idea of what could happen when you make the phone call. It's really helpful. Really helpful. Let the person know you care about them and that they are not alone. I need to keep checking on this thing, because as soon as it decides that it's not functioning anymore, it doesn't tell me, and then I keep blabbering, and then I realize that there's no sound at all. It literally just mutes. Okay, anyway, but let the person know that you care about them and they are not alone. Practice an empathetic response, such as, I can imagine how hard it is for you, but I'd like to try to understand. Oh, I can't imagine. Oh, I can't imagine how hard it is for you, but I'd like to try to understand. Which I find to be a very helpful statement, right? As opposed to being like, I know how you feel. I know, no, you don't actually. You don't. No matter how close you have been to that situation, you don't know how the next person feels. You need to give them that space to explain to you how they feel. And starting off with, I actually can't imagine, is acknowledging to them that I see you're not okay, but I truly know that I cannot even say I understand. I know you know that I don't understand, and I'm not even going to pretend that I understand. But I am so here and so present that I would like to know. Let me in. Yeah, I would like to know. Don't criticize or dismiss their feelings. If they do have an unaliving plan, encourage them to get help from SADC, a therapist, or a doctor. Your support is vital. Oh, I just love that whole paragraph. Just needs to be like framed somewhere and put up on a billboard or whatever. But done. Your support is vital. They've given you the resources that you can offer this person. They've given you how you can start this conversation, what you can say. Listen, how you should respond by not dismissing their feelings. All of that. That paragraph, you've saved a life. There, that 75% that could have been preventable, we're on it. SADC recommended creating a personal safety plan, incorporating contact details for trusted support people and professionals, and self-care activities such as exercise, healthy eating, and spending time in nature. That does, the way that you eat, what you put in your body does contribute to how you're going to feel. We spoke about this in the live that we have with Oscar Malela. You'll find it somewhere in on the channel. But we spoke about it. She mentioned that what you put in your body, you will feel the slump after having that McDonald's, even though it's an emotional eating moment. You will feel the slump after having it. In exercise, we know that that does a major thing, but also another thing about exercise is that it needs to happen consistently, and that's where you will see the major difference in your mental health. And then spending time in nature, also really vital. In fact, having a slump, if you can spend like 10 minutes in the sun, you will feel a difference. It usually makes a difference. It doesn't work for every single person. Obviously, these things you just need to adjust according to yourself, but it's worth trying out. It tends to make a difference. It's at the end of the article. In these articles, then they have like 101 ads. Okay, that's the end of the article. Okay, great. Thank you for joining me in reading this article and discussing it with you. Please do let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I will be happy to hear you out. And I hope you learned a little something. If you do find this, or if you did, that's what happened, right? I was trying to say if you did, but also if you do, and then I just ended up saying if you do. Weird. But if you did find this helpful, please do like the video. It will let YouTube know that it needs to send it out to other people, recommend it to other people, and please do consider subscribing as well. But thank you so much for getting to this part of the video. I will see you in the next one.